Ah, better. Thank you.
Girl, you the best, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending, nothing is real. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition, stay on the pivot. Who be watching, they be plotting, she so motherfucking independent. Mama be big, got on her grind, she had to get out her mama house.
Hello. Welcome everyone to the E-Spot with Camille. I am your host, Camille Cower, and I cannot wait for you guys to meet my guest today. He has done a lot in the realm that most of us actors and artsy and entertainment people may not feel so comfortable with. So it's great to have Juan the man here to help us make that transition from not just working in front of the camera, but behind the camera with marketing and stuff. Like, it's a lot. So welcome, Juan. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor for being here, and I was quite surprised when you had asked me to be on this show. I was like, wow. I mean, you had interviewed people like Yo and other people and other entertainment people. I'm like, wow, I feel such honor to be on this show. So thank you for having me.
You know, it's an honor to have people want to take the time to spend their time. It doesn't matter where they are on, I guess, in their careers, but just being able to share and wanting to share their expertise like that. I appreciate you. You know, I appreciate you sharing your expertise with us as well. And let's just dive right into it. Tell everyone how you got your start and what it is exactly that you do.
Sure. What we do is search engine optimization, web design, and online marketing. You know, I started it. I guess it started as a kid. I had a passion with video games. You know, I was always playing video games, and my first system was the Atari. You know, the 2600, the Atari. So everybody liked that. And one of the things that appealed to me with video games was the graphics. So I always loved the graphics. I fell in love with the graphics. So anything with the graphics was very appealing to me. And then I remember when I saved up for my first computer back in about 95, 96, I saved about $3,000 for my first computer. Yeah. So because that was more high end, and it was like 2 gigabytes off a hard drive, and 333 megahertz, and I was a 18.4K modem. I forget what it was, but it was a very slow first computer for $3,000, 2 gigabytes. Think about that of storage for what you store right now.
Yeah, a $3,000 computer would come with terabytes now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and that that evolved to me creating my first computer, putting my first computer after that, taking my computer apart, putting it back together, and it just became like a hobby for me, and that's how I started my business pretty much, and it was by accident where I had lost my wallet at a business. I was traveling away for business. I lost my wallet, and I develop a website called Missing Wallet. In the case of your story, your toll-free numbers of your credit card. But it was a novelty idea. It was not a revenue-making idea. But I learned how to do a website, a database, work with MySQL and all that other stuff. So it was pretty interesting. This is going back in 2003 when I started doing my first website.
Oh, back in MySpace days, wasn't
it? Yeah, MySpace. Yeah. With HTML coding and all that stuff. So
yeah, I was almost at my coding degree right when they stopped, when MySpace was done. I was like, wait, no, I just got my profile perfect. Because you could add in music. In case you Facebookers out there who have never had MySpace, with MySpace, it was much like Facebook, except for you could personalize it way more to kind of look like your dorm room, almost like you could decorate it. You could add in music. It was always fun seeing the top 8, because then you would know if somebody was still dating or not dating based on where they were in the top 8. It was fun times back in the day.
And you remember how you always copy and paste the wrong code or something like that, and your whole wall was all screwed up.
All
and
messed
you had
up.
to go back and undo. But yeah, that's how people learn,
Yeah, it was fun. I didn't know I was learning coding then. Now that it's such a big thing, you're like, man, if I had stuck with it, I could be so much.
I learned in school, they taught us how to do it in Notepad, That's how I learned how to do coding, Notepad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to learn how to do it in Notepad. So that was old school ways, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then it built from that. But yeah, but I've been like I said, I've been in the business for 17 years,
Yeah.
and from there, from web designs, went from a search engine optimization to social media management to and to online reputation management too. You know, so.
Well, there's a lot of differences that have happened since MySpace days as opposed to now. Like it's hugely different, I would say. I think every 6 months there's a new app, there's a new
Yep.
this, there's always something to keep up with.
Mhm.
So I can imagine that you enjoy the constant change as well with your profession. But
Yep.
I'm curious, what has been one of the biggest changes you've seen as far as technology goes that you've had to deal with that has been a plus or a minus for that matter?
I mean, I guess with with my business with the reputation management, I would say with the testimonials, the accessibility of people to now hold somebody accountable with social media. You know that if your business or service is not doing well, back then people didn't really pay too much attention to it, but now they do. You know, you can make or break a business, you know, by your reputation. So your reputation is the most important thing now. And you always got to check your reputation, as I mentioned. So, if anything, that's changed the game. You know, you don't treat well your client. If somebody catches you on video that you're not treating well your clients, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
with everything, even with your own reputation as well.
Yeah. The cancel, as they call it, the cancel culture it's not just celebrities anymore. It's Yelp is involved, Google,
Oh, yeah.
everything. So
Everything.
tell us a little bit more about what you do as part of the online reputation part of it.
Okay, sure.
I found this fascinating.
So we work with a lot of you know, entertainers and celebrities, politicians, and everything. So we help with reputation with their online reputation management. So if there's something negative, if they're arrested, for example, if they're or they have a mugshot or something that's negative, that's not pleasing, we can help repair that on the internet by suppressing it, by creating positive content, by creating new websites and driving traffic to those websites so they can populate on Google. And essentially, we clean up all the mess in the internet. And like they say in my business, the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of Google because nobody goes and finds it. So, you know, everybody.
So now everybody look page 2 or if you want to find the dirt. Just kidding.
So we build a lot of positive content and we push it back to the second, third, or fourth, fifth page of Google. So, but it's also the it's you know, it costs. It's a lot of work. It's not cheap either.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Now, what is like most common cases? Because I'm sure you can't speak on any of your clients that you hired, because that's the whole point that they hired you for. But what are some of the most common reasons that someone would need? I know you said mugshots and different things, but sometimes that can raise their value. So
we work with a couple law firms, for example, that we fix their reputation that they may have. Like I'll give you an example. Like if there is a without getting into without getting into much detail, like, you know, there's certain type of law, like businesses that may acquire negative attention. For example, like bankruptcy, you know, bankruptcy or divorce or anything like that is negative, you know, and there's usually somebody not too happy.
Right.
And somebody will write something negative. You know, I've had cases where it was a divorce lawyer, for example, somebody wrote something negative on the wall, you know, but it was the other parties, you know, so you have to, you know, find that balance. And sometimes you can take litigation to remove the comments. You could take it by law, but that usually, you know, requires it's usually expensive to do that as well, because you have to hire an attorney to do that. Or the other way is to talk to the customer, talk to the client or the person that wrote that negative stuff, ask them politely if they can remove it. And if that doesn't work, then you can suppress it by writing positive content and getting other people to write positive reviews, so you could bury that. And that takes time over time, and it takes efforts. And there are certain things that we do on our end that can help expedite that, certain techniques that we do. And sometimes we're very proactive and we reach out to some of the clients or customers or your fans to write some positive stuff on the internet for you.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah. Now, I know off air, and I didn't ask you this, if whether or not you could bring this up just in case you could, it would be kind of on the spot. But I know we had talked privately about a certain situation where they didn't hire you, so it wasn't your client, but it was one of those situations that maybe an entertainment person would find themselves in, how you would go about fixing it, but they ended up going with another firm for like thousands of dollars more. But yeah,
I mean, like, again, it requires a lot of experience. I mean, we have the knowledge and the know-how. I've been doing this for 10 years. I mean, I'll tell you my first client. I'll give you a little bit of information about my first client. It's a Wall Street executive 10 years ago. You know, he had something negative, and he paid me a lot of money to remove something on the first page of Google, and we did it. And it was a lot of trial and error, you know, and that knowledge and experience is what we, you know, we acquired. And
I'm sure Kanye wishes he can get you right now.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's interesting too, because we're also affordable. We're not like some other ones that are out there. I'm not going to mention them because I'm not going to give them credit.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
there are some popular ones. You probably hear them on the radio all the time, for Reputation this, Reputation that.
Okay.
But you know what? I'm a local guy. I have a lot of experience, and you know, I have a lot of my own reputation foresees itself. You know, to working with other people.
Wow. Okay. And are there ever any situations that you have come across where you're just like, there's just absolutely no way I'm touching this with a 10-foot pole?
Yeah, there's been several cases where, you know, it has to do with kids, with pedophilia or anything like that. I don't touch. You know, there was a guy who got arrested for the FBI, and I was like, I don't get involved with that nonsense.
Yeah.
The other one was, you know, with anything with, you know, with anything that is really, really to extreme crime. I don't like to get involved with that.
No, I can't say I don't blame you.
Particularly with the organized crime, I don't like to get involved with it. You know, I like to keep it safe and business. So there are some, you know, cases that I don't take, and others that I do. It's just case by case basis sometimes. Yeah. So sometimes it's not all about the money, you know. And I've been offered a lot of money, but it's, you know, your ethics and your rules and your morals and your values. You know, you have to respect sometimes.
No, there's been a lot of news lately about reputation.
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody's getting their reputation murdered because they're finding old tweets, or just in general, they just find themselves in situations where they're saying things that maybe they didn't mean, but nonetheless, now their reputation is ruined. So there's opportunity to fix that through getting your services as well as other options. So just letting people know about that, because I would have never. And there's no options.
And I'll tell you a case where we had you know, I can't go into much detail, but they paid us. We got paid as a consultant to basically prepare ourselves, because they were in litigation, and there was some stuff that might have come out that would have affected a multi-million-dollar deal with a film studio, and if that stuff would have came out, it would have affected them. So we built a lot of content, websites, media, social media profile. We've got a lot of stuff ready to combat, you know, against this stuff. So these are the things that we do behind the scenes, and you know, so sometimes we do something beforehand, like preventative measures.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because
when you're dealing with a lot of money, and especially in court cases that may not favor the person, you have to be prepared yourself for some of these things, and by getting ahead of it always is a good thing.
Right, because so many contracts have that moral clause in there where they can fire you based on, and it can be a gray area. So again, good to know that there's options out there. Now, can you share a little bit about SEO? What all of that? Because I think I told you because I had no idea what SEO was until this pandemic started, and I thought it was like sales executive or something. Like I thought it was like CEO, but SEO. You know, like I was just very confused on what it was until finally, I think I was watching some video and the closed captioning broke it down. I was like, Oh, that's what that means. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who's made that transition and is learning more about the business side of entertainment that would need to know
Right.
why SEO is important and what the breakdown of that is.
Well, okay, so it's simple. Search engine is SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's really what people do when they do on Google or any Yahoo or even Bing. They have their own search engine. So these are search engines, and people search all the time. For the majority, I would say a good majority of people of the world, the population, search on Google. They use search as Google. And you know what? Another search engine which is becoming popular is YouTube. YouTube is becoming another search engine. People are always searching the how-to videos. I find myself finding all the time on YouTube great videos on how-to stuff. Especially now with this pandemic, a lot of people are doing a lot of things on their how-to do themselves.
DIY.
So they're taking the time to do that. So YouTube is a good search engine to be on. So if you're a business, you have something, even putting a PowerPoint slideshow with some music and putting it on YouTube, just so that you could be on there. It's also another way to get, be found. That's the whole purpose of optimizing your website, is so that you could be found. And another thing is important about search engine optimization, or SEO, is finding the right keywords. Also, I'm doing a keyword research. I think that Camille and I had spent some time on showing her what keywords would generate more traffic. And the quickest way to find out what keyword search are more popular are the ones, if you type it on Google. When you start typing it in Google, you notice when the keywords will type on with some keyword suggestions or other keyword relations, or even when you type in on Google and you do a Google search, on the bottom of the page, there's some other keyword suggestions or other related terms too that you can do. Those are the popular keywords that you want to look on and use and write content, and sometimes the content you have to write about 500 to 700 keywords for that.
So there's 500 to 700 keywords. I didn't realize that you could have that many. I always think to stop around the 30 number, but I guess I can click more.
The more, and don't be repetitive with the same keyword phrase. In other words, don't force it. You also want to sound as natural as possible. Don't and you also want to take a look at other people who are on the first page of Google. Look at their content. See how they write their content to evaluate. Okay, if they look at the first 5. Okay, and look what the content is written. Then what you want to do is paraphrase and create your own.
Yeah, and there's so many great tools for that as well out there. So I just think back to when I was in college, and the computer classes I had were basically on the beginning stages. So we didn't have all of this information being taught to us yet. And I actually worked in the School of Education in the oh no, I can't think of the word, but it was multi-dimensional education, something to that effect. I can't even think of it. But needless to say, we were supposed to be on the cutting edge of technology and how we could use it in the classroom, and that still these options weren't there then. And so I'm curious what you think is the most powerful tools or even apps that people should use as part of their business, especially with marketing.
Right now is social media. And one of the mistakes a lot of companies and people do, they don't put themselves on all the platforms.
Okay.
They might say, Snapchat might not be for me. TikTok might not be for me. Facebook might not be for me. Twitter might not be for me. But guess what? These search engines like Google home into these social media profiles because they're very heavily trafficked. A lot of people visit these websites. So doesn't it make sense for your company, yourself, to be on these networks? Because the people will follow you, and the search engine will then do its magic, its performance trick. Yeah. So you have to be everywhere. And that's one of the common mistakes I think companies make. They say, oh, we don't need to be on TikTok. Why do I need to be on TikTok? Yeah. Be everywhere. Because that's what you want to be. That's what search engine optimization is. In essence, it's being everywhere so that Google says you are the most popular person on Google. So think about SEO like the popularity contest in high school. Guess what? The most popular kid is the one that gets involved with everything. The ones that play sports, the one who's involved with acting, everything. Yeah. So that's the most popular kid. So that's how Google treats its algorithm.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say that A word, because
Yeah,
algorithm is one of those things that you hear over and over again as an excuse for why certain people's content is never seen, or
yep.
why some days it seems chronological, the next day not, or anything in
And,
between. And so I
and
think a lot of people want to jump on the newest or the latest social media platform, assuming that the algorithm won't be working against them. So what can you share about algorithm and educate us more about algorithm to use it to our benefit?
Well, especially when you write content, you also want to make sure it's relevant and it's all like informative. Google loves stuff like that. Sharing data, sometimes that's even good, but you also make sure you source that data as well, meaning like, 98% of the people love the Camille show, you know what I mean? Or no, 100% of people fact check. We have to fact check it. 100% love it, stuff like that. People love data and the content. So
Okay.
providing something that's going to be informative, pictures are always good. Always optimizing your pictures and making sure that the pictures that you post on the internet are also, they have the keyword embedded in there, and rename the images accordingly to the keywords. Because you notice when you download the images on your computer, it
Yeah.
sort of gives you some random number like image or 545.
837.
It does
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So you should always rename your images according to the keyword, because that will generate more traffic. Because also you got to keep in mind the Google image search.
No idea. My mind's completely blown right now. I'm like, wait, that's so easy. Okay, I can do that.
So now
Yeah.
Camille going to start like renaming her things, and then you're going to start doing. So when you do a Google search, you start seeing all the images with the keywords, and that's how you optimize. That's called optimizing your images, by the way. So by doing that,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought it had to do with the quality, whether it was high resolution. I was literally expecting it to be optimization of the actual photo.
Yeah,
Now I know better.
and then the content, like I said, you could always take a look at the other competitors when you do your research and paraphrase some of their stuff. Why reinvent the wheel? It's right already. Just
Yeah.
take the content over there and just paraphrase it
Yeah. I
and make
mean,
it your own. Take a little bit of this person, take a little bit of that, and make it your own. See, a lot of people say, I don't know what to write. I don't know how to write. Like, there's a lot of ideas out there. You got to just take and make it your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, with moving forward with marketing, social media, and everything, do you have any predictions with the pandemic and just, and we'll even bring this up into it as well, as far as ways for people to enhance their reputation, or even great things they can use for marketing? I mean, I know we actually met through a networking group, so part of it is just taking advantages of joining great networking groups, but are there other great ideas or things you see?
Yeah, like I guess from a marketing branding perspective, you want to be everywhere, so that's for sure, as much as you can, and make sure that you pick the right audience to be there, because you want to make sure you get your return on investment, and all that. It's really important. And the branding, to make sure that people are out there. So if you're not, it's like lotto, you're not in it to win it, right? So you got to be in there. And the other important thing during this pandemic, I personally believe, and I strongly believe this, that if you help people, people will be you will not be forgotten during this time. And any businesses that help out other people during this pandemic, I think will not be forgotten, and will be do extremely well when we're out of this pandemic. And that's the only thing I can say.
I have to agree with that, because there's a big difference in going to some groups where you feel like you're being sold to the entire time, as opposed to groups where they're actually genuine transfer of knowledge and wanting
Right.
to help each other through this
Correct.
time, as opposed
Like this platform.
right. I mean, plug away. No, I'm kidding. I try my best. No, but I find all of this because so fascinating that, with the pandemic going on, as scary as everything can be outside or even with the news, there's still so much good things happening in community and people making that taking advantage of the opportunity of being home, being kind of on a pause button, and start looking at maybe becoming an entrepreneur, other ways to do business. And that's one of the things I enjoy about my show is, even though for the most part, you're right, I have entertainment professionals on here, but there's still so much we can learn from the business side in order to make sure that we're getting the best return on our own investments, or even finding other ways to make multiple streams of income while we're home, because we're home a lot anyway. Like there's a lot of downtime in between films and commercials. So it's a great time to really learn as much as you can right now from people like yourself who can really share where to start to get the right information, instead of just Googling or going to YouTube and looking up things, because knowing what keywords to look for can really change what kind of results they receive.
Right.
So with all that you're doing now, what have you noticed, even with marketing and even with, I guess, with reputation management during the pandemic, like people should start focusing on? Because you did say the help, so maybe marketing wise, involved in more social. Yeah,
I know. I'm in New York right now, and as you know, we've had a close and reopening phases. And one of the things I suggest to businesses that they should be doing as we reopen and we go through these phases here in business is to show people or market people about safety. I think safety is the biggest concern. I mean, if you're in a restaurant, right, you want to make sure that they're wiping down all the counters. You want to make sure they're wiping down all the things, or anything that's really concerned with safety. You know, I think safety and marketing should be the number one big thing moving forward that people should be doing. And you know, I think that's what we can do right now during this pandemic.
That's a great point, because I know that I join all these different mom groups, and we have like lists of places that are safe to go, because they notice that the employees are wearing masks. They notice that they're following the rules as far as social distancing, or not letting just everybody in and sitting down at restaurants. And I think it's important for people to realize, if you're not talking about it, someone else is talking about it, and it's up to you whether or not you control that narrative or someone else tells it for you.
And then I'll give you an example of a restaurant. I just gave them a suggestion, is that if they could do something virtually where they have a TV screen and a camera, that they could host an event and people can eat at their home, and they could be, food delivery service to their homes, especially people who have underlying health conditions, for example. They can eat their home and they can participate via Zoom or like a platform like this, video platform, and the restaurant have a big TV that can show people on video, so you have that experience that you can do virtually. And I give that recommendation to restaurants so to see that happens.
That would be even cool with like matchmakers.
Yeah,
they're probably like, how do we go on dates? We do it that way. We dine and dash.
Dine and dash. There you go.
Yeah, make the dates through the dining as well.
Everything's gonna be something like that. It's gonna be half virtual, half real. So before you know it, we're gonna be maybe doing that at a restaurant.
No, that would be fun, because I think about that, because I have a lot of girlfriends that are single still, and like that's their thing. Like, we're all stuck home now through the pandemic. Like, it's even harder for them to date or meet people, and you're not going out to eat. So even then, what do you guys do for your first date? That could be another, I don't know.
There you go. There goes another multi-million-dollar idea right there.
It could be. I don't know. I like dating shows, so I think the idea of somebody ordering food through ordering service.
Bring back the dating game.
Right, with Chuck Woolery, but funnier.
But funnier. What was the other dating game that's
Blind Date was fun.
Blind Date, yes, Blind Date.
I used to watch The Millionaire Matchmaker from Patty. I think she was in LA. I was about to say, I think she's from New Jersey roots, but
and a lot of celebrities started their starts there. Now the big some of the big A celebrities started in those shows.
Reality shows, yeah. It's always fun to kind of watch back. Yeah. No, or even game shows. And I'm like, there's so many different ways to possibly move forward to make so many different shows. I don't know what they're going to end up doing in the future. So I'm always curious, what are we going to do as actors as the time progresses and they're not able to have a safe set yet, or, they're still working it all out. I'm kind of curious how the NBA does it, and just see how that will moving forward. But
Yeah.
back to marketing. Yeah, go ahead.
And we have worked with some sports celebrities as well.
Oh, you
So
can't
yeah,
share.
no, I
I've seen pictures of you with a certain
NBA,
gender.
I can't discuss.
What? Say that again.
Yes, I can't discuss
Uh,
NBA. NBA.
no, but you can talk about the ones you're pictured with, though, can
Oh
you?
yeah, that I could. Anybody could talk
Oh,
about
okay. So
that.
that you're involved with something with Derek Jeter, right? I remember
Well,
seeing.
no, that was
Okay.
just the Steiner Sports and the
Okay.
event that I was invited to, and I got to meet Derek Jeter and you know, my friend Calvin. Shout out to Calvin. Thank you, Calvin, and Mr. Steiner Sports as well. So the Brandon Steiner is a great guy.
Yeah.
So all these great people. So I got the chance to meet Derek Jeter and Mark Messier and Eli Van. So that was a wonderful day. Yeah, I can't event. I have a frame somewhere up here.
No, and I mean, because he's burning up Twitter right now. I also wanted you've worked with Mark Cuban, or I don't know if I'd say worked with, but
Mhm.
I'd let you fill it in actually.
Right. One of my my former boss, Jeff Pulver, we went into event to consumer electronics shows, and this is I think it was 2005, and I remember that's where I met Mark Cuban, great guy. So he's a good guy, nice guy, and a good friend of my old boss, Jeff Pulver,
Ah,
and my friend, my boss, old boss Jeff, uh, which we met at the Jeff Pulver.
yeah,
He was also the co-founder of Vonage.
right. I still have my Vonage phone, funny enough.
Yeah, I still have it too.
Yeah. Because I just noticed my bill. I was like, oh yeah. Huh. I wonder what I'm paying for. As far as because I remember it being a lot less. So now I'm like, wait, what all am I paying for that phone? But our voicemail has our daughter's voice on it for when she was very young, so it's almost impossible to get.
So you will never delete that.
Probably not. And it was when you could kind of pick your own phone number. So our phone number is also our wedding date. So it's like, yeah, it's too much sentimental value in it, but we'll see. Who knows? Now you do a networking event, Wow Wednesdays, and
two
networking events. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I only know of the one. But so you do the one Wow Wednesday, and what's the other one?
Sábado con sabor, and that's it's Spanish. It's the same concept as Winning on Wednesday, but it's always in Spanish. It's not in bilingual because I wanted to, you know, it's a whole different market, a whole different, you know. So I wanted to help. I'm bilingual. I'm Spanish. I'm Salvadorian.
Yeah, you're an American citizen now, but yeah, El Salvador, right? I read your bio very closely. I was like, oh wow, that's so neat. That at 16, you had your parents put you in through the whole process.
Yeah. Can't become U.S. citizen.
Yeah, I think networking is so important as part of every field, no matter entertainment or any other field for that matter. Networking, your net worth is really about who you're networking with. Now, what made you start Wow Wednesdays, and what advice would you give for people as far as networking now in a virtual realm as opposed to doing it in person?
Well, you know, I'm a people person, and I don't know if we'll probably discuss about this, but I had ran for office. I ran for New York State Assembly in 2018, and I'm a people person. I like working with people, and I wanted to recreate that. But you know, the thing is that a lot of people didn't, like myself. You know, we like to network, but we don't like the fees that are involved, because some of these networking groups that cost up to, like, you know, thousands of dollars and or, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to maintain some of these networking groups. But I said, you know what, I just want to help out people, you know, and particularly now in this pandemic, we're here to help out people. I'm not charging. I do it for free. I do it for, you know, just to help out people. And that's how the Winning on Wednesday came about. It's just to network and help out people, and also to be there to help to get business too as well. You know, I've myself gotten business, you know, with the group. I wouldn't have been, you know, a believer if I didn't, you know. So it does work. But you have to network, and that's why they call it network, because you have to be there and work and get to know people.
And it's more than just sharing a LinkedIn. Like, there's more to it. Like, so what would you suggest with it? Because to make it, I guess, go from just, hey, I'm just hanging out, to actually
So the whole key, and I think the key to the WOW network that I have, and by the way, you can see it on YouTube. You guys can Google Winning on Wednesday on YouTube. Remember the search engine? It's a search engine, so you put in Winning on Wednesday on YouTube. You guys can see the platform, and it's really simple. It's just getting it out there. Just making sure you let people know about this and the value, sell value to it. And people get out of it. And I say people do business who they like and they trust, and you get to know people.
Right. When you started this, how did you go about getting started with it? Because I mean, I like people, but I went with a talk show.
It started at a restaurant. I get a group of friends. It started with a group of friends. You get 4 people. Starts with 2 people. Starts with me and you. Camille, can you get somebody next week to meet? Get one of your friends. I'll get one of my friends. And that's how it builds. And then they get their friends, and they get their friends, and then it just accumulates.
Yeah.
But the other key factor is you got to put in the work. And what I mean about put in the work, you got to constantly harass them, meaning you have to be in their face, constantly call them, hey, are you coming? You coming tomorrow? Emailing them, texting them. They get too many emails, as they say.
I mean, I guess that's something else with marketing. I wonder if you have this problem, because I'm getting so many emails, and a lot of the emails are still about, we care about your safety, COVID-19, we're here for you, blah, blah, blah. But it's to a point now with every networking group I go to, oh, I met you at the networking group, and they never met me. Or, but it's like a group email that they send to everyone that attended. And you don't know it until you're like, it's an overload. Yep. See, I'm not alone with this, where it's almost too much. What is your advice for that? Because I know I almost missed out on attending events because I had unsubscribed, because I was like, I don't even know what this is. But
listen, I have my discipline. I got my discipline. I just do it on a daily basis. If you don't do it, yes, you get big, right? I don't like going on vacation sometimes. I mean, I do like going on vacation, obviously, but when you get back to work, I got like hundreds and hundreds of emails I have to go through. To your point, I just I use Gmail or Google Suite. They use very well. That's the Google platform. I've used that. That has been very helpful for me. You have to use some type of I believe that you have to use some kind of paid platform in order for you to get a better service.
Spam, yeah.
Because if you don't pay it, you're gonna get a lot of spam.
Yeah. Okay.
It's unfortunate. You have to pay to play.
Yeah. No kidding. I've now gone through, and anybody that's like a real person that I want to stay in contact with, I just automatically put them in my VIP, so there's a star by their name. Otherwise, it just blends in with all the others. But kind of backfired on me today.
I hope I have a star.
Yes, you do. No, but it's funny. I still have you as where I met you as well. So I have like Juan, Jeff Pulver. That's what I was going to say. It kind of backfired on me today, because I thought I was emailing someone, but it was their no reply server emails, because I joined their mailing list as well, just to stay in contact of any latest and greatest information. I was like, I wonder why they haven't responded back with what date they want to be my guest. And then I look at my spam folder, that's the email, because they went to the no reply to their website instead of the real version of who's going to be on my show next month. And so I was just like, I put the wrong address in the VIP. So yeah, it's a lot of emails out there, guys. Just deal with it. Find a way to get over it. But you would still suggest it as a way to stay in contact.
I'm sure there's going to be some AI service out there that will be able to take care of you, be like a virtual assistant down the road. We're not there yet, but we'll get a virtual AI assistant. It's coming soon. Not yet.
Right. No, I'm sure. So it's also like an interesting way with the networking to connect now with, because I know I noticed it even in your group that it's not just a local thing anymore, because location is no longer an issue. And that's one of the big things I think with a lot of networking events that makes it a big issue too, is that if you can't fly there, then you miss out. And now there's this virtual component I think will be a permanent piece moving forward. At least I hope so, for those of us who can't fly out to every networking event.
But also look at it as another another bridge to another, market. Another bridge to another market. There, even though for example, I'm in New York and you're in, I believe, in North Carolina.
Right, North
Yeah, I got it right. My heart was racing 100 miles an hour. I was like, I hope I get it right.
No, that's funny.
North Carolina, right? But like I said, maybe there might be some services where maybe, for example, I may have friends that might be relocating, and actually, I've had friends that relocated to North Carolina from New York, from Long Island to North Carolina, and there may be some service of that, whether it be movers, realtors, bankers, etc. So there might be some networking or correlation with that. So that's some ways you can work from two different, virtually.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's definitely going to happen because Cary, which is the suburbs I live in, that it's an acronym, at least jokingly anyway, that stands for Centralized Area of Relocated Yankees. So we have a lot of New Yorkers here. That's why we have good pizza here.
I heard my friend said that they make good bagels, good pizzas, and it's just like New York, they said. Just like New York.
Bagels is a little iffy because we don't have the water. It's the water I hear makes the difference.
Right.
Up north.
We say water.
Yeah, water. Yeah,
water. Water. Long Island, coffee.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Not like Boston. Boston has that wiki.
Oh yeah, the park, car, Harvard Yard. Yeah, I had my voice teacher was from not Brooklyn, from Boston, and so it was funny when he would switch into his Boston accent. You're like, whoa, I would have never believed you because he was so straight. I mean, like, I call it straight, but I guess that's not probably politically correct anymore. But he had a very generic voice up until that point. So I want to make sure that we cover everything that you cover.
Yeah, it goes by quick.
It does, and it's already 6:42. So I want to make sure
we're gonna get to work.
Yeah, I know.
We're having so much fun.
I know. I got all distracted talking about networking, but I'm curious, moving forward, or other projects that you have coming up. Because you have the Fame Rep.
Oh yes, that's the reputation management. Yeah.
And then Tech Acts.
Yes, that's the digital marketing firm that I've had for 17 years. Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like there's one more.
Well, it's just the networking groups that I had mentioned.
Okay.
And the one that I do is Winning on Wednesday. I said on Saturdays at 11 o'clock, Sábado con Sabor, and it's all in Spanish, and it's the same in networking in Spanish, and the same thing. And we do the breakout rooms and everything is in Spanish, and it's nice. It's really nice, and for me, I like it because it helps me improve my Spanish. Even my mom complimented me the other day. She said your Spanish has gotten better, and that's because I've been practicing it. Because it's like if you don't, you use it, you lose it.
Very true. Very true. I moved to the States when I was about 13, and I was in ESL at first, and yeah, I didn't have anyone to practice with, so I lost it all. Granted, my ESL teacher also told me to stop. But anyway, moving on. I'm not bitter. Yes, I am. I'm curious, again, like, is there anything that you want to promote or share that we haven't covered already?
How wonderful our host is, Camille, and how great and a pleasure to be here. And she's a great host, everybody. Okay. Yeah, that's right.
And the crowd goes wild.
They'll pay me the $20 later.
Oh, you weren't supposed to say that on air. I thought your rates were higher than that, so thanks for that. But seriously, like I find the reputation part so fascinating because there's so many times I'm sure in the news where you hear all of this about whether a celebrity, a bank, or even here locally in North Carolina, there was this huge incident where this family was, I can't remember which one they were arrested, but in the process of arresting them, they found like millions of dollars worth of jewelry and all this other stuff in their homes. And then you never heard about it again. It was as if it was wiped clean everywhere. And now I'm like, maybe they had
Yeah,
Major
I'll tell you a quick story. There
yeah.
was one guy that I had that he did like a couple of years in federal prison.
Mm,
He did something financial. I think he stole like, a few $1 million or something like that. I'm not gonna go into
chump change.
specifics,
Yeah.
but but I told him, I said the quickest way to change this, resolve this issue, which could be very affordable, and not spend thousands of dollars and fixing your reputation, would be just simply change your name, because
Mm,
you can legally change your name. But a lot of people won't do that. They're the ego or their pride or anything like that. They will not sacrifice that.
yeah. Just that
Think about
simple.
that.
No, that's crazy. I mean, makes sense, but still, I mean, like,
It's like you giving up your identity for a new identity, and people do that sometimes. People change even celebrities change their name to celebrity names. Because sometimes you see a lot of celebrities that is not their name.
yeah. I mean, there was an actor just recently who
Oh
decided
yeah,
to change his name back to his birth name because he had a Hispanic last name. I think I don't remember
well,
what
I think it was
changed it.
Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen. They're all related, the whole family and
Well,
all that
not
stuff.
it was yeah, they all have the same father, which I find hilarious. They all have different last names, but whatever. It's not. I mean, just because you change your name, it's not like all the guys that are hiring you haven't been playing golf with your dad for years and hadn't seen you and don't know who. Okay. Anyway, but this one actor, he was pretty much white passing and didn't want to prevent only getting sent for Latin roles. So he shortened his name to a more, I guess, Idaho sounding name as opposed to his original name. And just as simple as that, a lot of people sometimes will change their names to get more roles, to not sound as ethnic as maybe they are. And I never thought of it. Like, I know for myself, my first name I never go by just because my family always called me by my middle name, but I never would have thought, oh, well, I might not get a job because of this name. But it's come out as something recently, even where people with ethnic sounding names, resumes won't get seen as quickly. And so, I mean, sometimes you got to play the game that is given to you. If it means
Right.
changing your name to clean up your reputation or changing your name so you can get your foot in the door, you got to play the game, I guess, to some extent. Or, I mean, at the same time, it seems like there is that draw to be more inclusive. So your
And
name might help you.
I'll give a quick tip and advice now to think about it. You can also set something with Google Alerts for your name. So therefore, if somebody's writing about you, you can definitely get alert by Google. So Google Alerts is always something.
Yeah. So Karen, thank you so much out in the audience.
Okay, and Karen, shout out to Karen
James
Serna.
O'Day is what his name was, and he's changing it back to Rodriguez. He was in the show Psych. So yeah, that's one guy that changed his name. And I was reading something today that made me think of you as well with the LA Times, where they were talking about this actress who was involved in the Black Panther movement. She was a white actress, and she was involved in the Black Panther movement, just being an advocate. And I guess she had donated some money, but the FBI wanted to ruin her reputation. So they sent unvetted information based on a wiretap to the LA Times, and it ruined her reputation that she was expected to be pregnant and she wasn't. And she was married. And so it just like brought up all this extra drama for her. She ended up committing suicide in Paris 10 years later. Just a very sad story where I guess it's so easy that your reputation could really get ruined. And now we have ways to combat it. I think this is good information to have for all those people who may or may not get arrested while protesting.
I will tell you something real quick. I had a client that I shared many, many years ago. This is when I first started. I helped them get on the first page of Google for famous actress. Okay.
Okay.
And she got a Broadway role. What is that?
So you're saying there's other ways around it. And that poor girl that bought a billboard in Atlanta, there was other options. Oh, so even with that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things with reputation again that we can do that we have fixed. I mean, we've worked with some musicians, actors, producers. We work with everybody you could think of in the entertainment world as well. We work with them. and a lot of legal teams, a lot of lawyers. So we work with a lot of lawyers. Yeah. When you work with a lot of that kind of money, you deal with a lot of with lawyers.
Yeah,
There's a lot of back and forth with lawyers.
Yeah, in that case, look, that's why we will stay clear of too many stories for the fear of getting NDA revoked. I was like, I don't mess with lawyers because
you signed that NDA, you can't really discuss about it, you know.
No.
But I can tell you also, I mean, I've had cases where think about it, you know, with DUIs, people that get mugshots, or people who are, you know, stuff like that, of actors, celebrities, you know, you name it, they get pulled over, you know, and they hear it all the time in the news, DUI. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
So they would hire a publicist, and then a publicist. We would usually work with a publicist to do the reputation management with a publicist.
I was wondering who would contact you.
So we work with a lot of publicists. They hire us. They outsource the work to us, and we handle all the digital aspect. They handle all the PR work, you know, all the other stuff, and we handle all the other, you know, the digital.
Now, are there ever times when you're like, they want to encourage positive stories out there that maybe it's not getting the notoriety that they wanted, so they need like some extra hands to help make sure?
I mean, I could think of, there was one case I could briefly mention about let's just say a female model that wasn't the, you know, something, it wasn't nothing great. It wasn't something that that they didn't want that image. Okay. So over time, you could get another a person to play that quote unquote model, and then optimize that image over time with that person's name and face. And over time, that person's face and name takes over on Google. So it's not the same person. Well, it is the same, you know, original person, but over time, that actor that looks like that person takes over that role.
So Rosario Dawson, if you ever need a double, I'm here for you. Rosario
Dawson, yes, exactly. So, you know, we can start putting Camille. Yes, exactly. That's one way. But yeah, we've done stuff like that. So we've found that with. So it's really interesting. There's a lot of cases that you can do, and always, what I was saying before, just set up your Google alerts, because you want to get notified if something negative, somebody writes something negative, because it's always important that, you know, somebody will talk about you get notified.
Yeah, and like misspelled versions of your name too, I'm learning, because not everybody spells my name correct. Yeah,
and there's a lot of great services out there that also you can pay for that are affordable, that they watch and monitor your reputation.
Wow, there's so much out there. The internet is one of those things that's just endless ocean of information, and you kind of need to know what you're swimming for. So I really appreciate all of the great information you shared with us today, teaching us about SEO, keywords, optimization of images that has nothing to do with the pixels.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot today, and that's a great way to start the week. So I want to make sure everybody knows how they can stay in touch with you, or reach out with you, or find out more about I was about to say Wow Wednesdays, but that's not what it's called. Winning on Wednesdays.
Winning on Wednesdays, yes.
So yeah, if you could share all of that.
But my Tech ACS is the name of my company, and you can just Winning on Wednesdays. Like I said, you go on YouTube, and you can also Google me on YouTube, and I'm really accessible. You can find me. I don't hide.
Like, he's really smart. If the more you Google him, the higher his numbers goes up too. So that's why he's like, I'm not writing it. You gotta Google me. I'm gonna make a shirt of that. I'm gonna go ahead and write it down. Google me, increase my SEO on the back.
We gotta promote it. Yep, you gotta promote it any way you can. Yep.
No, that's so smart, because a lot of times when I'm looking up my website, I always do it in the Google search engine, because I don't feel like typing it all out. Just do it, and it'll pop up, and I'm like, wait, I wonder if this counts.
Oh, and you know what? It's really interesting too. While typing, I'll give you another tidbit of advice. Two things. You can use, YouTube. You can upload your videos. Sometimes they transcribe the videos for you. Right. When you upload it, they transcribe the audio for you, and the text is there for you. And another also scary thing is that if you don't like writing, you can also do the speech by using Google Documents. You can use the speech, like Google Speech, like almost like Siri or Alexa. They're really good. You can also, you know, put it in a Word document and just start talking, and it starts typing for you.
I just recently started using TikTok on a more regular basis. And one of the ladies' tips was showing how you could, I forget now, of course, but there was like you just hit 2 different keyboard things or keystrokes and it will do the voice diction for you. She's like, it saved me years of time in college. And I'm like, oh, you guys don't even know how good you have it. We had to use typewriters and printers where you had to like line it up with the dot matrix thingy or, you know, the windy things.
The Dewey Decimal System. How about that?
I'm dyslexic, so that was my nightmare. Was anything
going up with the index cards, you know? So think about that. You know how you used to look at the index cards? That's what Google does in seconds. Within seconds, we as humans look at index cards through that. Google does that in seconds.
Yeah.
And it gives you your answer right away. Where we had to, like back in school, look it up, find out the number, the level, and all that other stuff. And look it up. Yeah.
You guys don't have to spell or anything. Yeah.
I think so. To your answer, I think your accessibility and data. You know, that's what is the key. Information, data. How fast can we receive it?
Right. Well, again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for spending.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure, and I'll see you, of course, on Wednesday, and probably
on Wednesday.
Jeff.
Thank you so much, Camille. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Please share with your friends.
I'm honored.
Not scary. All right. Well, thanks again. You have a great night.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So much great information. How did you guys like it? I love learning new things, and I have to say, computers is my downfall. I try my best. Like, I may look like I'm really into computers based on how great my show looks, but no, it's taken a lot of time and energy to learn all these different techniques. And up until recently, I would not call myself a computer nerd at all. I liked gadgets. If I couldn't do it on my phone, it didn't get done. So now I have to spend a lot of time on this beautiful box, and it has become really cool. So I'm very excited about all the different things I've learned, and going to these different networking events and having people step up and say, hey, I'll help you wherever you have a deficit. And that's one of the things that you'll find from joining different networking groups can help as well with that. So anyway, be sure to check out the rest of the week's guest. I'm very excited. Of course, I've been scheduling a lot of people, so I'm kind of confused on who I'm having this week. So I just want to have my cheat sheet in front of me. Tomorrow, I'm very excited. I will have Army Hicks Jr. He is a Raleigh, North Carolina resident, or I don't know if he's still a resident, but he's from North Carolina. He has appeared in shows like Atlanta, and he has directed a new film that is on sex trafficking that is amazing. It's called Circuit. You can Google it on YouTube. And that's Army Hicks. He will be my guest Tuesday. Wednesday, Popcorn Miller will be making his return, and this time, hopefully without audio issues. I will definitely have to do a tester, just make sure so we don't have the same problems we had before. But he's going to be on. We're going to talk about his experience being the stage manager for Earth, Wind, and Fire, New Kids on the Block, Marvin Gaye, and many, many more. Don't want to end up telling the wrong resume, because I also have Ayaji Hampton, who's also from North Carolina. He went to the same college as me, so Eagle Pride. He will be on. He is the drummer. He has toured and recorded with Macy Gray, John Legend, Nina Freelon, and many, many more. He's going to be my guest on Thursday. Then Friday, celebrity publicist Rocky. We're going to take the show to Instagram. We're actually going to have it on Instagram on Friday. I'm going to try to do that every Friday from here on out. We'll see how it works. But, you know, all this computer stuff, as much fun as it is, it's a lot of work. So on Fridays, I thought I would make it a little bit easier on myself by just going live on Instagram. It'll be a lot easier for me and for my my friends that are over on Instagram that do not have a Facebook can join us live as well instead of having to wait for the replay on YouTube. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you share with your friends how wonderful of a show this is. I mean, Juan said it, so it must be true, right? So please share with your friends. Let them know about the eSpot. And I look forward to seeing you guys with me the rest of the week. Every day at 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. And I'm also being on a podcast. So soon I will be wherever you find podcasts. All right. So you have all these different ways to find me. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.